Item 9B, public hearing and consideration of acceptance of the Federal Fiscal Year 2024 Community Development Block Grant, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Good evening, Christy Batterson, Director of Housing and Community Resources. It's my pleasure, and I'm super excited to be up here talking about our Consolidated Action Report. This is basically what our report is required to do by HUD that we have to have a public hearing on to let you all know what we ended up with for the year. There we go. Just a reminder, our CAPER overview. So this, again, is what we have accomplished throughout the year. Our federal fiscal year runs on October 1, 2024 to September 30, 2025. It's due 90 days after the end of the fiscal year, so we're required to have a public hearing, a 2-week comment period, and then we'll turn it into HUD by the end of December. So I put this slide up here just to remind everybody of what our goals and objectives were for FY24. Similar to what I brought forward to you in July with this current action year, is we focused on housing rehabilitation that's owner-occupied, where we would go in and assist those things that needed to be taken care of, code compliance, ADA accessibility. Priority would be given to those in the CDBG area. We also had home buyers assistance up to $14,999. That was just on down payment only, and that's 50% of a required down payment. We also prioritized our neighborhoods tree programming. So if there was a tree that was causing life and safety issues to the home, we would remove that. And of course, we allocated funding to our public services. Again, just a reminder, all the programs that we do throughout CDBG are for those that are 80% or below area median income. Those income limits change every May. So for the majority of Federal Fiscal Year 24, a person making under $54,750 would qualify, or a family of 4 would be $78,150. So we proposed our budget of $637,958. Again, majority of our budget goes to housing activities. We have a 15% max on public services and 20% max on administration. Our allocation that we received from HUD was $537,958, and we used $100,000 from previous years that we had set aside that we didn't use. There's a lot on this slide, but what this says is that we ended up using $620,783. We came in around $9,500 below budget, primarily in our housing rehabilitation funding. We used almost every penny that we had, but we ended up with 10 people on a waiting list just because we couldn't continue, knowing that those were probably going to come, bids were going to come back higher. And then we had what we call program income. We had, because we do put a soft lien on property after a rehabilitation or on home buyers assistance, we had someone sell their home before their 5-year qualification period had ended, and so they repaid us around $3,100, and that's considered program income, and it goes against our public services. So we set that aside, knowing that we couldn't go over our 15% max. What really tells the story is how many people we've served. We, in housing and non-housing projects, we assisted around 27 individuals. And I have the breakout here. Our housing rehabilitation, we served 6, and those are those owner-occupied rehabilitations, primarily full window packages, HVAC units, roofs, new flooring, ADA accessibility. We kicked off a weatherization program that was primarily where we went in and we did an energy assessment on a home, and then depending on what energy they were losing throughout their home is what we did. A lot of it was window packages, insulation, door seals, et cetera. Those were around, we assisted 5. We did 6 home buyers assistance, and then we did 10 neighborhood tree program. And I have the breakout of how much we spent in each of those areas. But I wanted to bring to your attention kind of what that meant. There's more to it than just assisting 27 individuals. The homes that we assisted ranged from 1949 to 2004. The majority of them were in the 1960s, 1970s, being built in that time frame. On the owner-occupied rehabilitations, the majority of them were outside our CDBG area, but they were within qualified census tracts. Several units around the Edmond Memorial High School area, several around the Kelly Park area, across like in the Ripple Creek area, across from Santa Fe High School. All our home buyers assistance were within the CDBG area, with the exception of one that was barely outside around Edmond Memorial. So that really tells you the story of that we are assisting families with that aging housing stock and exactly where we think it is. The reason why we were successful in previous years, we've not had a lot of requests from home rehabilitation programming. And one of the successes, reason why I think this was successful, is because I brought the rehab specialist in-house. So Patrick Dighton, who is split with building services, half of his time is with building inspection, half of his time is with CDBG. Because I have someone that can concentrate time with homeowners as well as contractors, I think we've been successful in serving more people. Additionally, we had a contractors fair this year where we were able to bring several contractors in to learn about our programming. And so that's increased the number of contractors we have that when we do our bids that can bid on the projects. We've also done a lot of community outreach with marketing. We did the weatherization program, we kicked that off. We also have partnered with Home Depot and Tinker Federal Credit Union Foundation to assist veterans. And so we're making that community outreach and partnerships throughout the community. The weatherization is new. We kicked that off in the spring, and hopefully our goal is back in February, we're going to reassess those homes to see if they actually did save money on their utilities after doing some of those weatherization rehabilitations. So I really contribute our success, and so far this year, we're almost 3 months into the new federal fiscal. We've already hit 11 homes and assisting 11 homes this year. We ended the year last September. I actually had to kind of take things off the website for a little bit because we already had a waiting list of over 10 people needing assistance, but I didn't have the funding hadn't started until October 1. And again, we have a waiting list of about 3 right now, but we have 5 active rehabs going on. So you'll hear me time and time again talk about our public services, about the nonprofits that assist us in providing services throughout the community. Over 4,300 people were served with that funding spread out between 5 nonprofits. Hope Center did a food bank because they still had emergency rental assistance they were providing. Project 66, Edmond Mobile Meals, Edmond Public School Foundation, they also had a food bank that they contributed to up at the administration building, and then a UR Special. This was the last year for UR Special. According to HUD, I can no longer give them federal assistance. They do not qualify. However, they get other assistance from the City of Edmond to help offset their programming that they do. So this was our last year of our 5-year consolidated plan for previous that started in 2020. I thought this was a very important to bring forward to you how many people we've served over the last 5 years. We've served just a little over 27,000 people, and we spent, as you can see, almost $2 million, or actually almost $3 million in activities over the last 5 years. This is not including additional funding that we received. CARES, one of the things that came out of CARES that I always say is the positive thing, if you could have a positive thing out of COVID, was the federal government gave out a lot of money. Because of programming and policies, procedures that are already in place, and the amazing team that I have, we were given more money than most communities were, and we were able to spend it all in a timely manner. There are still some people who are trying to figure out how to spend the rest of their CARES money in 2026. Ours is all gone. We have spent every penny of it, and I'm very proud of that. We received $500,000 from the Oklahoma County Housing Authority that went to emergency rental assistance. That was awarded to the Hope Center, and they concluded that funding in September as well. We received almost $2 million in Oklahoma Commerce Cares money that went to a variety of organizations such as North Care, Rental Assistance to Hope Center, Edmond Mobile Meals, and Project 66. And we did so well with our HUD Cares money that they just gave me more. And so we used the final bit of that for Edmond Mobile Meals rehabilitation. So I think that's saying something. $3 million in 5 years, 27,000 persons throughout the community, I think is something to be proud of. So staff took this through Citizen Participation Committee who has jurisdiction over our action plan and our consolidated plan on November 13th meeting, and they passed it for recommendation to approval, and staff also recommends it for approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
No real questions. One comment, and this is assuming I'm thinking correctly and my math is correct, which I'm guaranteeing neither. But if I look at your summary allocations, let's just take this year. The thing that strikes me, again, if I'm correct, program administration could be as much as 20%, and it was only 16%. So we saved about $24,000 there that I'm assuming that allowed us to provide more service more to people. Is that correct?
So kind of. So what I didn't mention is in our administration fee, we actually pay Metro Fair Housing to do our complaints or discrimination in housing. That is actually counted as part of our administration max. So they get $10,000 and we get the remaining amount. So it's really $99,926. That's our program administration. So just for staff and program oversight for the city is almost $90,000. So, but $10,000 of that $100,000 is Metro Fair Housing. So
still, I mean, it could have been 124.
Yeah, and that's
So
that 20% max administration, that public service max, you cannot go over.
Right.
Yeah.
So by being under, there's more money to provide service is
Correct.
my point to all of that.
That's
So-
absolutely correct. Yeah,
so-
and anything that I don't have in that max of
Right.
administration or public service goes to housing activities as much
So-
as we can.
So very good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just one clarification, on the 27,000 over the last 5 years, is that unique individuals?
Yes.
And they're in the Edmond area?
Yes, and we only serve within Edmond corporate limits or city limits. So, and all our public services as well as our qualifications when we qualify someone for either home buyer's assistance or owner-occupied rehabilitation, they have to show us proof of through a variety of paperwork that they have to provide. So all of those individuals are here in Edmond.
That's great. It's surprising as a percentage of our population a little bit. And just remind me or remind the public, if they may be watching, how can they connect with these services?
So on our website, we under community resources it lists all our programs that we handle internally, those that we have partnerships, and then there's a whole list of organizations as well throughout the community and the metro area of resources available, and they can give us a call and we can help them. Rental assistance, utility assistance would be Hope Center, and, but all that contact information is on our city website under community resources.
Okay. Thank you. Great job.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone in the audience who has any questions or would like to comment on this? Come forward, state your name and address, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Cody Boyd, 230 East 7th in Edmond. I'm speaking to you today as the Vice Chair of the Citizen Participation Committee, and I don't really have much substantive information to add. I do want to commend Christy and her team. I think they do a great job with their diligence and their financial management of this program, as well as their empathy, because I wouldn't have thought many years ago to tell folks that the City of Edmond has a lot of social safety net type programs, but she often is one of the first contacts. And when I want to speak specifically to the housing activities portion of this program, and while the 27,000 number of citizens served includes all the nonprofit activities, I know you all are used to dealing with large numbers, and to see 11 homes, for the cost of $400,000 or so, that's millions of dollars of property value that's preserved by an investment of this, and we're talking about homes that this keeps them standing up. And so we hear a lot about gentrification, redevelopment. I'm usually here talking to you about new development, but this is the best tool that the city has to preserve the affordable housing that we already have here, and to keep people in their homes, and to keep those homes worth keeping for renters, or for folks who own their homes, again, to keep those from being gentrified when a home, of course, becomes too worn out. The cost of a roof, the cost of HVAC is beyond the capacity of a lot of these folks. And it would absolutely result in either living in deplorable conditions or those homes eventually going off the market for some type of redevelopment. So we really appreciate your support. And I just, again, want to commend Christy and her team, and we're really excited about some of the proactive things that we're looking at in the future with Edmond Builds, as far as targeting those neighborhoods where we know redevelopment and gentrification are going to happen, and what we can do to preserve, again, the affordable housing that we already have to keep folks from being pushed out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Boyd.
Cody.
Anyone else? What would y'all like to do? I'd entertain a motion to accept this report.
I move to approve.
Second, Mayor.
I have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. Motion passes 5-0.